You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Yahoo!
Sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, while I was sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only.
I love my grandma because she always comes to my soccer games, and she always supports me when I'm playing out there. Like, she always cheers my name, and she always says, like, go Lauren, go. And like, I really like that. She's really helpful to me, and that's exactly why I love her.
I love my grandma because she takes me to the skate park and she loves me.
Grandpa is really cool because he's not like the usual grandpa to sit in a rocking chair. He likes to take me on like boat rides and to run. He's really cool. And my grandma's also really cool. She likes to cook and stuff, and she's always so like nice and understanding.
I really love my grandma because she's always so nice to us. She always loves to spoil us, and I think I like that. And Papa, whenever we want to go somewhere, like say we want to go to the beach or the kayak, he's always up for that. And like walking Ziggy or something. That's why I love him.
I like Grandpa Bob because he does puzzles with me. And I like Grandma Sue because she reads with me. When I'm with Papa, I like to go swimming.
The other night, dear, while I was sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried.
I love going to the park with Grandma Jody. And I love going to the time zone that Papa takes me to the Ron McDonald's and he buys me stuff. And I love that Grandma Mollis. We walk in the yard and she lets me play her game. And I'll think about the rest.
The other night, dear, while I was sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So
we hope that we'll have many, many more days of wonderful occasions to be with our grandkids. They're very precious to us and mean so much in our lives, and we'll continue to dote on them every day.
I wouldn't have it any other way. She's so precious. I mean, with my own two boys, I spent all my time taking care of them and making sure they had the food right and keeping track of them and everything. I couldn't really relax with them. But as you get older, I think you relax more. So I'm very relaxed with her, and we spend all our time playing, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I ever played Play-Doh with my boys. Now I get to play Play-Doh with them.
Our oldest granddaughter, Hannah, she is 12, and when she was 2, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, also known as juvenile diabetes. This breaks my heart, it really does, because I know this is something Hannah's going to have to do forever, and if I could take this disease away from her, I would do it in a heartbeat.
And my whole idea in this thing, it's a Mrs. California, was family. There's tragedies in every family, and when these happen, it's nice to have more people, and it's nice to know that there's more people that love you like Grandma and Grandpa. Nobody can love them more than parents and Grandma and Grandpa, and how important this is. So that's always been my stand, is the American family. It's so important. Let's not let it go away.
I love him this much. I love him. I love him to the sky. I love him to the sky.
Once I was a grandmother, but I was stripped of that title and all that it means by circumstances beyond my control. It didn't take long to learn that I was not the only one in this situation. If someone would have told me that I would become an activist on behalf of the grandparent-grandchild relationship, I wouldn't have believed it.
5 years ago, I created this support group because I didn't have anybody to talk to. I had lost visitation with my only grandson. In the state of California, at the time that my grandson was adopted by his stepfather, my son gave up his rights, the mother remarried, the stepfather adopted my grandson, and therefore I lost my standing in court and was no longer recognized as his grandmother. So I went to all these different attorneys, and one of them gave me advice, and what it was do you want to see him? I guess you're going to have to change the law. And that's exactly what I did. With the help of Assemblyman Van Tran, I legislated and changed the law, and this is all during the time that we had the support group, and this is before the organization started. The support group helped me tremendously because I found out that I was no longer alone, and there were other people that were experiencing similar circumstances of visitation issues, denied visitation. So the organization started, and then I started getting emails and phone calls from all over the United States, from every state, and a diverse group of grandparents that either had issues with just reconnecting because of family feuding, or maybe the death of one of the parents and the surviving spouse cut them off. This group is about visitation issues. We talk about communication skills, we talk about letting go of our egos, and that's why we're here.
I have 2 grandchildren. The first one, I was in his life for the first 4.5 years. My son had gone through a terrible child custody battle. They weren't married, he had some alcohol and drug issues. And I was told, because I supported him, that that's why I couldn't see my grandson. My son died from an accidental overdose. So I went to court. I couldn't afford an attorney, but I went to court anyway. And I lost. So I haven't seen my grandson. Sorry. Since a week before my son died. And he lives just in San Clemente. I made some mistakes. And I have to live with it. And I made some poor choices, but I know in my heart I was a great grandmother. I was her babysitter the first 1.5 years of his life, overnight, a couple times a week, and So I have memories, and I'm not giving up. I did go to court, so that way I will, someday, if I get to see him, I will have proof that I tried to fight for him. Because he had no choice. So he lost his dad and his entire dad's family.
My name is Carol. My husband and I just finished a very messy court battle. We were in court for 1.5 years. And after having our granddaughter with us for about 30% of the year, we've only ended up with 10 hours a month for a visitation. But we do have a court order to see her. It's not enough for her. Every visit she asks, why? Why can't we stay longer? And I really don't have any answers for her. I found this group about 1.5 years ago also, and it was the only group in California. It's made a huge difference, the support I've received from Susan and the rest of the ladies.
It's been 3 years with Susan and the group coaching me and telling me what to do and what not to do and hanging in there and how to write letters and eat crow, we call it, as I call it. Never really did know what we did wrong. I assume it was communication skills that we were lacking or they were lacking or whatever, but the good news is that a few months ago I wrote a letter and my son responded, and it's been good news ever since. And we see our granddaughter every week or so, whether it's a soccer game or take her to the play. So thanks to Susan and the group, I hung in there, and as Susan puts it, I did my homework, I did my work, and our family is much better for it. And we constantly are working and talking with our son and daughter-in-law just to make sure that things won't degenerate anymore, so it was a good thing.
So they asked me for money again, and I told them I couldn't give them any money. So I'm just here to get support and find out what I can do to see these kids.
My concern is for the grandchildren and what they must be thinking, because they've always been really close to their Grammy, and I'm sure they feel that I don't care about them anymore.
I have 2 grandchildren that I can't see, and my oldest daughter was killed in a car accident 4.5 years ago. It's just been a very sad situation for our family. We were all very close and did everything together, and it's just cruel. But we're going to keep trying.
But Shane, it's great that we're able to see you. And 5.5 years ago, we lost our daughter and your mommy's sister. And we have been fighting in court ever since then to try to be able to see them. And you're about the same age as Megan was when we last saw her. And you can see how you're now in kindergarten and how fast you've grown up. And it's really hard for grandparents not to be able to see or even talk to, even on a telephone, their grandchildren. So you've never seen Megan and Matthew, have you? You've never met them. And although we have a great time together,
God will punish Alan.
Well, we think so, but right now we have to keep praying and hoping that we'll be able to have something happen good so that we can all see Megan and Matthew shortly. Because you know what? Matthew would almost be like a big brother for you. he'd probably play Star Wars just like you right now. And you know, what do you think his favorite color might be?
Maybe blue.
Maybe blue, yeah. And what's your favorite color?
Green.
Green. Yesterday we got a chance to go see you play soccer, and we just see you growing up, and we'd like to see all of our grandchildren grow up. We'd like to be able to talk to them and love them every single day and see how they're doing in school and how they're doing with everything they do, because it's so important. And I'm so glad that you and I are such buddies and you live so close.
And as much as we love being with Shane and Wyatt, and we do, we're not married anymore, but we're still grandparents to them, and we love being with them. We still miss Megan and Matthew. They're the ones in Washington State that when our daughter was killed, her ex-husband took them, and we haven't had contact for 4 years. We've been in court and we lost in Washington State. But we still hope that someday we will be able to be reunited with them, and that Wyatt and Shane will get to meet Megan and Matthew someday, and that we'll all be back together again.
6.
I love him.
Miss them. Just like I'd miss you if I didn't see you all the time.
Yes, but you
And Wyatt if I didn't see him all the time, right? Mwah.
Grandma, remember that truck?
And then the day my son died, I was cut off from all contact and haven't seen him since. My grandson's favorite covered wagon that I sent for from Nebraska, and he used to love to turn it off and on. No one loved this light. These are my shrines, and this is what keeps me from not giving up and not giving up having hope that I'll be with them someday.
That was when I hugged him goodbye in front of that church. I knew it was going to be a long time. Because I just wanted to see him. It had been 3 years. I think so, unless they moved. I thought they moved. Yeah. Okay.
They only live 15 minutes from me, but I know they have their house up for sale. My other son found that out. Actually, it's on the website. You can see it. And he sent me all the pictures of the bedrooms. I saw with the little girl's room. She had a crib the last time I saw her. She's 6 now. She was 2.
Call, we've emailed, we've sent gifts.
Oh, yeah. Cards. Well, anything to the kids, they're returned. So I've started keeping the cards in an envelope.
Yeah, well, one thing, you're talking about you just severing things also now.
Yeah.
But I think in a lot of relationships, if that happens and there's no avenue to get back together, and maybe a few years from now or 10 years from now, there'll be a change of heart. But there's so much water underneath the bridge and there's no way to get back. But if you just keep it open.
That's what I was thinking of.
There's always a door there if he wants to open it up.
The bill that Susan got passed, my husband and I were able to get into court with that to try and get grandparent visitation with our granddaughter. We had an excellent judge down in San Diego, and she, I think, was very smart because she did say we had an attorney, they didn't, and within probably, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, she just looked at them and said, grandparents do have rights. And that was the first time in a year and a half almost we heard anybody say that to us, because we got the opposite from just about everybody. Even the attorney kept saying this is an uphill battle, it's an uphill battle, it's an uphill battle, and we just kept forging forward with all the support we had. But the judge at that point had ordered some conjoint therapy sessions and some very minimal visitation. And I think that my best guess is that both parties, we just decided we were done with the fighting, with the pain, with everybody, the hurt, and it was just getting old. It just wasn't worth it anymore, and nobody was winning at this point. We're all there to, win for my granddaughter. Nobody was winning, and it really was a joint effort at this point that we have worked really hard. And in the last, maybe 3-4 weeks now, we've come together with them. We've gone out with them as a family.
For somebody like myself that really, sometimes wonders what the courts have to, be thinking about when they make decisions, I just wanted to talk about the judge that we had and just kind of reiterate the fact that during the time that she was gathering all of her information and making her decision, the one thing she stayed totally focused on what was best for the child. Just showed a lot of wisdom. Was requiring my wife and the parents of our granddaughter to go to therapy together because she recognized the fact that what was best for this child was an intact whole family, including the grandparents and the parents. And that really was important to me to see that, and it's helped us to get started on recovery now and rebuilding those relationships.
Part of our order was that we were supposed to get together with our daughter and talk about expanding our visitation. And we did that. We got together with her, but she refused. And since then, I've asked her in person, and I've sent her a written request for more time, and those go ignored. We try very hard to get along with our daughter. We go out of our way to be kind to her for the sake of the children and for our daughter. We want her to know that we're here. But at some point in time, somebody's got to get it that a child's feelings matter. It isn't about me wanting to see my granddaughter. It's about our granddaughter who thought we stopped loving her, who thought that we forgot all about her. She wondered what she did wrong. And at least now we can tell her that there's nothing wrong with her, and we can tell her that we do love her. But somebody's got to get it, that this is devastating to a child, and it's got to take priority over a parent's right to use the child to hurt us when they're angry. My mother and I had our differences, but I never considered cutting her out of my children's lives because my children loved her. And that mattered to me. Relationships are not disposable. And this is family.
And although we talk in a sense, or in the presence of our rights and what's right for us, but we're all in this really for the kids.
My husband and I did see our 2 grandchildren for 7 years. We joined Susan's group about 6 years ago, and she's given us the support and the courage to go on. And I never stopped sending them cards. I tried to always know what they were doing, even though their parents took them out of state away from us. But I just want to say that there's hope. And if everybody continues to belong to a group, get the group support, that their time will come and they will see their grandchildren again.
Spending a lot of time with your grandchildren, you don't think you can love anyone more than your children until you have grandchildren.
I've tried to talk to my son, and they won't answer the phone at home when they see it's me. They won't acknowledge it. He just doesn't want anything more. He basically told me in April that he didn't really want anything more to do with me for the rest of my life.
When I heard that she was going to be doing a program to support grandparents and applaud grandparents, and when she asked me to be the MC, I was more than pleased to say absolutely yes. Because my favorite time is when I'm spending time with one of my 9 grandchildren. Those are the ones that my own children have, but in addition to the 9 that are blood relatives, my wife and I have adopted 9 additional grandchildren, so we have a total of 18. And what that means is that there are 18 young ones around the country or here in California that get a letter from Grandpa every other week. It might have a book in it, it might have one Tootsie Roll, it might have a dime, it might have a penny. The whole concept being that it's sure fun to get mail, and who cares what's in it, it's just fun to get mail.
We know now why some children who seem to have really impossible situations in their lives make it, in spite of all of that. And the reason that they do is that they have had the privilege of a loving adult in their lives who believes in them. And that makes the difference. And as grandparents, that is something that we offer. Self-esteem isn't something we acquire and lock up in the safe deposit box and have forever. It's more like a bucket with a hole in it. And some holes are bigger than others. And it needs to be constantly replenished in order to stay at a healthy level. So the children need continual reinforcement, continual support, and continual love from us. There's a wonderful apocryphal story about the famous English actor Sir Laurence Olivier. A fan came up to him after a performance and said, "Oh, Sir Olivier, I don't have to tell you what a magnificent performance you gave. I don't have to tell you how much pleasure you've given the audience. I don't have to tell you what you mean to so many people." And he replied, "You do, you do."
And we always try to find a way to resolve the issues without litigation. You know, the less court time you all do, the better off you all are. One of the problems that I had in Susan's case is that there had been an adoption occurred, that the mother and father of her grandson had split apart. The mother had remarried, and she had allowed her new husband to adopt the child. And that ends the lineage. And there was no law about it. So after extensive conversations with trying to resolve it several different ways, and in fact, you getting some contact there in the middle, it finally got shut down, and I said, you know what, I'm at the end of how I can help you. You got two options. Start covert operations and have some different ways to see your grandson, or change the law. And when she left my office that day, I thought it was really interesting. I'm like, okay, change the law. I had been, my first law firm that I practiced with, we wrote the 3100s for grandparents. So I was really familiar with the grandparent law at that time, and I knew there was no way in it for her. And I knew what it took to draft laws, to reread them, to convince all your committees exactly why they should pass this law. And when Susan left that day, I thought, I'm sorry, that's all I had to give her. I hope she can do something. Well, look what she did. Now, I don't want to sit and read all of it here, but there is a big part that says, hey, if both parents agree that you shouldn't be in it, you're not going to get in. You can't even file the petition. So the parents have to be living apart, separated, whatever. Susan created our code section that says, even if the parents agree and they're both against you, if he is a step-parent adoption, you can still file an action. Because before, you couldn't even file an action. But anyway, the court has to find that there is a pre-existing relationship between the grandparents and the grandchild that has engendered a bond such that visitation is in the best interest of the child. Those bonds and interests will balance the interest of the child in having visitation with the grandparents against the right of the parents to exercise their parental authority. Everybody know about parental authority? If you don't, let me help you. It means everything they do is right. They do nothing wrong, and they have complete and utter control of the grandchildren. And so if they don't put them, I just had a case too, where the grandparents came in and the children, the grandchildren are all in dreads. They are completely trained to defy all authority. They do not have bedtimes. They go to bed at 2 a.m. They do not eat meat. I mean, just a really kind of alternative lifestyle down in San Juan Capistrano, living by the railroad tracks under a bridge. But it's a nice underbridge. It has it's got a roof and it's got walls, and Child Protective Services have been in there, and it is fine with Child Protective Services. Yeah, they got food, they got water, they got a roof, right? That's their parental authority, their parental autonomy. And they have, by our Constitution, the right to raise their children how they see fit, and they can do it. And the court, once again, isn't going to come in their door absent that they are detrimental to those children, or every now and then a little crack of a grandparent and siblings of a deceased parent are going to get in that door. And the court's going to say, yeah, they need you to be with you. In this case, the grandparents wanted so desperately to give these grandchildren a normal life. And I said, well, that's not the statute, and you're not going to be able to get into court for that, right? It's not who's got the better house, it's not who's got the better food, it's not who's got the better stability. It's actually, are they fed? Are they clothed? Do they have a roof? And that grandparent has to learn, as quickly as possible, shut up. Okay, just shut up and be there to love them. Be there to offer the four that she talked about. Be there constantly for the net, as the net. Because when and if it crashes, you need to be there for them. Be there to love them no matter what. Drop stuff at their house that you know they need. Do all of your grandparent, volunteer at their school. Do all those things. There's a lot of alternatives before litigation. Because once I do go to litigate, I won't go unless I have every possible element that I need to prove your case up. Because otherwise, I'm blowing their college fund. Because the people under the railroad tracks, they're not going to put them to college. It's going to be their grandparents.
I'd like to tell you a little bit about the woman who is the catalyst to make all of this, that has been able to bring this about. And that's about Susan. I got a call from a friend of mine. She said, there's a woman here who has a passion and a desire to do something that's really important, not only for herself, because she's been denied the rights of a grandparent, for those many people that have been disenfranchised for their rightful role of being a grandparent. That, of course, piqued my interest, and at that time I was no longer in the Senate, but I was currently with the Department of Education and Secretary of Education. So obviously still very much interested in children's rights and understanding the need of the parents' rights as well. And so I decided to spend some time with her. I was very impressed with the passion and the determination that she had to resolve this issue. And of course, I advise her, get a cadre of supporters that you can approach, and perhaps it's going to take some legislative changes or authorization in order to bring this about. But she became armed with petitions. She went around, she found those people that had a common interest. She got them stirred up with her and with those petitions and a bulldog determination. She hit the halls of Sacramento. And she found an ally with Assemblyman Van Tran, who picked up the gauntlet and decided to carry the legislation. And it's not easy getting a bill through the legislature, and I'm sure any of you that have been watching lately, it's extremely difficult to get anything done in Sacramento. But it takes a dogged determination, and it also takes a burning desire to accomplish something that you truly believe in. And so Susan was able to surmount all the obstacles that you could imagine in the political arena and convey that passion and bring about those people that could help and support and that shared her passion to get something done that was truly important. She was successful. It passed the legislature without a single negative vote. And for anyone who ever says that one woman can't make a difference, I defy you not to say that after you've talked to Susan Hoffman. Thank you, Susan.
I have a question. How does someone take a loving grandparent away from the child after they've established a bond?
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll put it together and we'll get it all done. Someday when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the rays of a beautiful sun. Someday when your world is much brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll put it together and we'll get it all done. Someday when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the rays of a beautiful sun. Someday when your world is much brighter. You just wait and see how things are gonna be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just wait and see how things are gonna be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just wait. You just wait. You just wait. Just wait and see how things are gonna be.
What do you like to do with Papa?
What does Papa do with you?
I like to wrestle with him and play with him.
He wrestles with you and plays with you. Yeah, he does.
Does Grammy ever bake you cookies?
What do you do with Grammy?
She makes me cookies.
Who does?
Grammy.
Can you say Grammy makes me cookies?
Grammy makes me cookies.
Okay, what about Nana? What do you do
Wait a
with
second, a plane's going over.
Good job, Chinny.
Okay, Jenny, just one more thing. Just say, I love my Grammy because she makes me cookies.
I love my Grammy and she makes me cookies.